Hey, I'm Onions, and welcome to the latest casualty of Unreal Engine 5. The game launched with quite a negative response from the gamers because of the performance issues, but it has been slowly getting better as the GPU manufacturers release driver updates. So make sure to check if you have any pending GPU driver updates waiting for you. And with this new release of Borderlands, the devs changed how boss farming is designed. We no longer have to reload the game in order to farm legendaries. With this new change, you just need to insert a small deposit into Moxie's big encore station, and you can reload bosses, no game reloads necessary. With this new system, I wanted to bring back those good vibes of boss grinds and farming legendary loot, and at the same time, add a little bit more value to it. And the concept is simple. I take on a boss 100 times, track every drop, and share the results with you. Let's drop into the gauntlet where we will discuss drop rate numbers, legendary loot drops, and their abilities. First grind boss to kick things off, we're starting with Splashzone. To farm Splashzone, you'll need to navigate to the coastal bonescape map portion. It's in the bottom left portion of the entire world, and find the point of interest called the Riptide Grotto. You also need to progress far enough into the storyline where you're actually directed to go in this location. The starting point I recommend is the launch pad and navigating slightly down towards the middle of the coastal bonescape and unlocking the silo called the stock room. If you unlock the stock room, it'll give you 3 vending machines at which you can buy and sell items. It'll give you SDU upgrade kits, and on top of all of that, it will unlock a fast travel station, which will be the closest location you can travel to in order to run to Splashzone. Now also, if you follow the Echo 4 path, I recommend deviating from the original path and going right instead of left. That will allow you to go through a swampy area and drop directly into where the Moxie's big encore purchase station is at. Fighting Splashzone is actually really easy. He's a simple boss with a really large critical hit spot. You just need to land it on his head. I have a build that just amps up all the critical hits, and I have a rep kit that gives me 200% amp damage in addition. So taking him out in one shot is not necessarily that difficult. I also have a tip here. When he drops his loot and you want to sell it, pick it up as junk, because there is no vending machine here that sells shields or weapons. So don't forget to pick up the items as junk that you're intending to sell, and you can sell them directly to this ammo vending machine instead of having to go to another location. Okay, so I wanted to actually present this with a little bit more value, and I wanted to have some data to back it up. So I recorded 100 runs and I tracked every number of drops that he provided me with, and here they are. You can see that based on this chart, the greens and the blues, of course, are the most common. They're actually a lot more common than the whites. The whites only dropped 1 item per run on average, and I only got them about 50% of the runs, whereas the greens actually showed up 98% of the runs, and the blues showed up 84% of the runs, with the items actually dropping in the range of 3 or 4 greens and blues per run. The purples are also fairly evenly distributed. You're pretty much almost guaranteed to have a purple almost every run. 80% of the runs have a purple. And let's talk about the one thing that everybody actually cares about, the legendary drop rates. In my case, I got 11 drops in 100 runs. Now, I have seen some Reddit posts of people talking about the fact that they are farming him for hours and not getting any drops from him that are legendary. But in my case, I actually succeeded in getting every item type that he's supposed to drop. We received a shotgun, a shield, and a legendary grenade mod, which we'll discuss in a minute. But I wanted to note one more interesting fact about this data and farming him for 100 runs. On run 29, actually, you can see that he dropped every single color of loot. We got a white drop, a green drop, a blue drop, 2 purple drops, and 1 legendary. This is the most rare occasion in 100 runs. This is the only time that this has happened. So you have 1% chance really to get a drop of every color if you're farming for, let's say, a white, a green, or a blue. I don't know why you would want these items. I mark them as junk, sell them directly to the vending machine, and actually gain some extra cash this way so I can keep farming him over and over again. Now, if you like this chart and you would like to look at it in more details, including the number drops and breakdown chart here, I will post the link to this Google Doc in the description. You can open it and either share it or leave comments if you'd like. And if you think that this data is interesting, make sure to add a thumbs up to the video and maybe hit that subscribe button so you can see the next time we do this again. Now, let's talk about the actual legendary drops. So the first item that Splashzone drops is called the Fireworks Shield, and it has usually 3 attributes, but sometimes only 2. So it has bundled. On kill, spawns missiles that home in on nearby enemies and deal a certain amount of damage, depending on the level of the shield. The other attribute that is almost always present is Missile Swarm. On armor segment break, launches 3 missiles, each dealing a certain number of damage depending on the level again. And the middle attribute, sometimes it exists, sometimes it doesn't. It usually changes on a drop basis. You get, on this one, knockback, but I have some instances where I have the boxer, the armor segment, and the armor strength. The middle attribute is almost always randomized, but the first and last attribute are always the same. The second dedicated legendary drop from Splashzone is a shotgun that's called the Balloon. It comes with one main attribute called Lightweight. Projectiles float upwards and spawn child projectiles upon exploding, and sometimes you get a random attribute assigned to it depending on your luck and the drop chance. It is a decent shotgun, however, it's not the most practical as all of your projectiles always float upwards, so you sort of have to aim almost always at the ground in order to land a hit close to the enemies that are on the ground. And the final dedicated drop for Splashzone is a legendary grenade called the Jelly. And the self-text is very self-explanatory. It's self-replicating. Essentially, when you throw it and it impacts any surface or enemy, it will replicate itself. Sometimes up to 12 times, where I counted in one instance where I bounced it inside a closed room. So if you throw these grenades out in the open, they have less rebounds and less replications. And if you throw them inside closed rooms with lots of enemies, they tend to be chaotic and respawn many times. You also get 2 additional attributes usually. In my case, it's expensive, grenade damage radius increased, and the last one is a manufactured part, which is Ripper. Grenades teleport to their destination, and I believe that this is always the case. No legendary guide is complete without a quick gear rundown. First up, the Fireworks Shield. Every kill, whether it's yours, your minions, or from a shield segment break, fires off 3 to 5 homing missiles, and if these missiles land the kill, they can chain into even more rockets, jumping to the next target. Next, the Jelly Grenade. Direct hits deal heavy splash damage, but even near misses are brutal because it splits into additional grenades that keep the damage rolling. And finally, the Shotgun. It's not the strongest on its own, but with the right distance to the enemies, you can rain missiles straight onto clusters of flesh targets for heavy crowd damage. And that's it for Splashzone. Happy farming, Vault Hunters. If you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it, hit the like button and consider subscribing so you don't miss the next boss gauntlet. I also included a few shift codes that have been released by the time of this video. If you haven't had the chance to catch them, they are in the description. And if you want to explore the loot drop chart that I've shown earlier in the video, I've also included the link in the description for that. As always, thank you for watching. I am Onions, and I'll see you on the next one.